You have entered the Chronic's rabbit hole, an army chronicans. Welcome to or welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle, aka Chronic.
And I'm Alanna, aka Wifey.
And this is a very special video. I love ambassadors itself. Something about that. You have to be such an important, strong-willed person, and we know that BTS and RM are those characteristics. So I'm very excited for this BTS speech at the United Nations for UNICEF that you all wanted us to make sure to check out because it's pretty a monumental time when a band gets the chance to stand up for a country and what they want the world to kind of act
in front of the UN. That is monumental. Absolutely. I actually have been following a couple people on, or one person in particular on TikTok who also got this chance, and he was really excited that he got to follow BTS's shoes after the amazing speech that they made at the UN. So it just goes to show just how influential this speech really is to everyone across the world, especially with bringing South Korea to the forefront for everyone in this new movement of their culture.
It truly is, and we just saw that Pharrell Williams and RM interview where they're talking about I never wanted to become an ambassador or anything, but now look at the position I am. I do have everyone listening, so what I do say does mean something. So let's see what RM does and BTS behind him supporting for this amazing speech. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
UNICEF ambassadors and global pop sensations BTS launched Generation Unlimited campaign in front of world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly in 2018, calling on leaders to hear the voices of 1.8 million young people around the world. Learn more about UNICEF here. But building on their Love Myself UNICEF campaign, lead singer RM from BTS spoke to both world leaders and fans across the world. Let's all take one more step. We have learned to love ourselves. So now I urge you to speak yourself. I'd like to ask all of you, what is your name?
Ooh.
I think that's powerful because naming something and knowing someone's name means personalizing things that you used to think were enemies, were strangers. It's foreign. It's the first thing God got to do when he went to Adam and said, name these animals so you can actually know them yourself too. Not just see them, but actually name them. So I think that's really powerful because RM is just a wizard with his word choices. You ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, UNICEF Executive Director, and all the excellencies and distinguished guests from across the world.
Wow.
My name is Kim Namjoon, also known as RM, the leader of the group BTS. It is an incredible honor to be invited to an occasion with such significance for today's young generation. Last November, BTS launched the Love Myself campaign with UNICEF, building on our belief that true love first begins with loving myself. We've been partnering with UNICEF's End Violence program to protect children and young people all over the world from violence. And our fans have become a major part of this campaign with their action and with their enthusiasm.
Let's go, Army.
We truly have the best fans in the world.
Real honor.
And I'd like to begin by talking about myself. I was born in Ilsan, a city near Seoul, South Korea. It is a really beautiful place with a lake, hills, and even an annual flower festival. I spent a very happy childhood there, and I was just an ordinary boy. I used to look up at the night sky and wonder, and I used to dream the dreams of a boy. I used to imagine that I was a superhero who could save the world. And in an intro to one of our early albums, there's a line that says, my heart stopped when I was maybe 9 or 10. Looking back, I think that's when I began to worry about what other people thought of me and starting seeing myself through their eyes. I stopped looking up at the night skies, the stars. I stopped daydreaming. Instead, I just tried to jam myself into the malls that other people made. Soon, I began to shut out my own voice and started to listen to the voices of others. No one called out my name, and neither did I. My heart stopped and my eyes closed shut. So, like this, we all lost our names. We became like ghosts. But I had one sanctuary, and that was music. There was a small voice inside of me that said, "Wake up, man, and listen to yourself." But it took me quite a long time to hear music calling my real name. Even after making the decision to join BTS, there were a lot of hurdles. Some people might not believe, but most people thought we were hopeless. And sometimes I just wanted to quit. But I think I was very lucky that I didn't give it all up.
Yeah, you sure are.
And I'm sure that I and we will keep stumbling and falling like this. BTS has become artists performing in those huge stadiums and selling millions of albums right now, but I am still an ordinary 24-year-old guy.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I've achieved, it was only possible that I have my other BTS members right by my side, and because of the love and the support that our ARMY fans all over the world made for us. And maybe I made a mistake yesterday, but yesterday's me is still me. Today, I am who I am with all of my faults and my mistakes.
Amen to
Tomorrow,
that, brother.
I might be a tiny bit wiser, and that'd be me too.
God, he can
These
move
faults and mistakes are what I am, making up the brightest stars in the constellation of my life. I have come to love myself for who I am, for who I was, and for who I hope to become. I like to say the one last thing. After releasing our Love Yourself albums and launching the Love Myself campaign, we started to hear remarkable stories from our fans all over the world, how our message helped them overcome their hardships in life and start loving themselves. Those stories constantly remind us of our responsibility. So, let's take all one more step. We have learned to love ourselves. So now I urge you to speak yourself. I like to ask all of you, what is your name? What excites you and makes your heart beat? Tell me your story. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your conviction. No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, just speak yourself. Find your name and find your voice by speaking yourself. I'm Kim Namjoon and also RM of BTS. I'm an idol and I'm an artist from a small town in Korea. Like most people, I've made many and plenty mistakes in my life. I have many faults and I have many more fears, but I'm gonna embrace myself as hard as I can. And I'm starting to love myself gradually, just little by little. What is your name? Speak yourself. Thank you very much.
For every child.
That one's really hard. Why it's hitting me so hard is I really don't love myself these days as much as I can try to say I do. So I've had a hard time with my name forever. That's why I changed it myself. I didn't change it legally, but in action, and it's the name before was Gary, just to give you the name itself. And not knowing your identity and even trying to speak that, that's what's hard for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And what a powerful message, because I'm literally going to therapy, y'all, and RM in 7 minutes or less has already unlocked the thing I'm trying to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And his ability to just speak about himself and the want to be a hero is absolutely why Gary came into existence.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back to Kyle was another form of wanting to be a hero in a family type of a way, in a community type of a way. So I think it's so powerful that he did this at the UN, because even at the beginning I'm like, okay, where's he going with this? Like, what's the point? Like, what's the punchline? And it took the story of him talking about himself and then saying, what's your name? Because we know as you mold into things, you stop losing your identity. Your name was this, but then if you join a band, you're now RM. You're Rap Monster. You're not Kim Namjoon. Like, so there's the things that you're fighting with and what identity you are. And so that's what it was reflecting for me. I'm feeling pretty good now too, because speaking about it always helps. But if you can't speak about it, that's when you feel bad. And you see a lot of people right now changing their identities with their names, with these identity changes as well,
Absolutely.
because of not knowing who they really are. And I think that's just such a powerful thing that he really expressed. It's something that I'm glad we didn't pause on,
Me too.
and we got to just get it out completely. And because, as y'all know, I sometimes can talk too much, and this is nice because it just really reflected the wanting to be a hero, losing the identity in that heroism, figuring out the title and the name that you're comfortable with, and then figuring out you don't need a name or a title to be this thing that you should be. It's about wanting to get your voice out.
It's to get your voice out, but it's not just that. Like, it's deeper for RM, because I feel like he's speaking, even though he's telling a story about himself, he even ended that with, but I'm just an ordinary boy. So he's also saying, he's speaking for Army in that as well. Like, I lost my voice, which I know I can relate to, you can relate to. I know all of you watching have been able to relate to that at some point, of losing your voice, especially when you're 9 and 10 and start realizing that other people have opinions, and you start seeing yourself through someone else's eyes, pressing yourself into a mold of what someone else wants you to be. I think universally have all felt that in some shape or form.
See yourself in third person.
See yourself in third person. And so what's crazy is, like, even though RM is telling a very personal story about himself, he's speaking to the UN about a story of so many that Army have gone through. He's even heard these stories personally from Army themselves, who've messaged out and reached out. And he's
Love
really
yourself.
and that's why the Love Yourself campaign really came into existence, was to help so many people, like themselves, but also so many people in that emotional crisis. And so for them to be able to come to the UN and be able to be that vulnerable in that moment, to express something that 1.8 million Army members have gone through, and we know that there's so many more of us that have gone through that as well, even without knowing BTS at this time, that it feels like your voice is really able to be heard in that moment. I know for myself, I tried to go by a different name or try to find myself in that way many times when I was younger. But I ended up really, I didn't cry during this one the way you did. It didn't break me down because I never went through that the way you did. I was very solidified with being ALANNA for a very long time, regardless of the molds I was trying to shape myself into, or whichever. I was very confident in being ALANNA. And so this one I relate to it, but not as deeply as it hit you, which was beautiful to see also for me, because I know that you've been going through so much and such a tough time, not just now, but for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
A long time. So it's beautiful to see how RM's reaction really affects people, not his reaction, but his speech affects people in so many different ways. And it really does make me curious to know how it affected all the adults who were there in the UN who were present at this meeting.
Yeah, because to see the angle he's coming from, and that's what BTS does, their
Mm-hmm.
art. Because that's what he's saying. The only time
It's
I've been
art,
real is through this music, and that's my art, and that's what's coming out.
the
Everyone
creativity.
who needs real art gets gravitated towards BTS, and then they come to you at that time when you're kind of in that identity
Absolutely.
crisis mode for you, and they come and save you, and they help you love yourself, and that's something that I just need to hear more is love yourself. And I thank RM for being so articulate, passionate, and having the BTS members behind him, getting to see how they were
Mm,
moved during that speech as well was really incredible
absolutely.
as well for me. So I'm glad that you all were here with us for this reaction too. Hopefully you did have a good time. If you did, hit the like button, comment down below what your first experience was with this speech, and if you want us to check any more speeches from BTS at some of these like they were at the White House and some
Hmm.
other ambassador type of like
Very cool.
venues. So if there's other ones you want us to check, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to become a Chronic Army, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button on your way out. If you want some early releases, some poll voting, some blog content, and much more, we also have free tiers on our Patreon that will be in the description below that you can check out too. We are now exiting the rabbit hole, folks.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. This is such an amazing adventure to go through, getting to see RM speech at the UN with, and even with their Love Yourself campaign with UNICEF. To be partnered with UNICEF is no small feat.
That's incredible.
That's incredible. That's major. So it really shows just how many branches they have reaching to really support people, to make sure that everyone is able to live their best life, to
Yeah.
love themselves, and to really have that help on an interpersonal mental health basis. And so that's absolutely phenomenal to see from RM and BTS, and to see where their hearts really truly lie. And it really does lie with Army 100% of the time. And we do appreciate you, Army. Thank you so much for being here with us, because we love you just as much as you love BTS. Because without you, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this amazing adventure with BTS, getting to learn all of their history as greatly as we have been going. So this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much. Peace and love, everyone.
One day at a time. God
One
bless
day at a
y'all.
time. God bless. Bye for now.